Red button's on.
We're good? We're live? Okay, good evening. This is the Harwich Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, January 9th. We are in the small meeting room in Town Hall. Anyone in the audience who would care to record this session, which we are recording, by the way, please notify the chair before you do so. And I would just note that there is no one in the audience at the moment. So, with us tonight, we have a quorum of 5 here. Present, Mark Heller, Scott Norm, Bob McCready, Mark Amorez, and myself, Peter Hughes. So I will declare that we have a quorum. First item of business is to approve the minutes of December 9, 12, and 16. I left 16 off the list, but we need to add that. So could I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and second to accept the minutes of December 9th, 12th, and 16th, 2024. Any discussion? That's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, you there? Okay, well, she's getting in. We'll put that to a vote. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark?
Hi.
Peter is aye, 5-0. I'll give you a minute to try and get her in, okay?
It looks okay.
Michelle, can you hear us? She went away. Okay, we'll just continue. Okay. New business, when we were with the finance director and the selectmen on the 16th with a joint meeting, they provided us with the list of old articles. I don't want to review those tonight, but what I would suggest is that if you're a liaison to one of these entities, you should check with them about the status of old articles that have an outstanding balance, which is sort of significant, like over $10,000 or $12,000 or something. So, I don't know if anyone wants to pick one out here, but let's just say the highway department, whoever has that, there are a number of articles that from 21 and, well, actually 18, 21 and 20, 22 and 23 that has some outstanding balances. Just check in with them, find out if they're still active, if some of them are done, if there's any opportunity to close them out and the funds, get turned back in, if you will.
Peter, are you reading from the comprehensive report that was distributed in the packet?
I'm reading
or
from
something
this.
Separate that was?
Munis.
I'm reading from the Munis report. It was at the back end of it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, did you not get it, or?
I'm not sure if I got it, but it's probably part of that original report that had way too much information. It didn't.
Yes, there was they resent the 2 pieces.
Did they send that electronically?
As we asked, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I got it from
Got it.
Peter, I think.
If you don't have, I think I sent it to everybody.
Okay,
If you
I'm
can't find it, let me know and
Okay.
I'll send it to
will
you.
do.
Okay? We good with that? All right. Oh, hey, Michelle. How are you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can even see you.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
So let me ask a question. Did you print out for yourself the old article list? This was handed out, or this was provided to us as part of the December 16th meeting with the selectmen?
Yeah, no, I did not print that.
Okay. You should have access to it because I think I sent it around.
On the 14th.
Okay, so I'll just check my email.
Okay, on the 14th.
I'm just,
On the 14th. And Dana's with us here as well, although his glasses are up, so he probably can't see us.
If you search your mail for Munis, it'll pop up.
There you go. So the comment I made was, if you're a liaison to one of these departments, you should check the list, see if they have outstanding balances, and check back with them to see if those are active articles or whether they're done. right? With the potential of turning money back in. Hi, Dana.
Hello.
Is it, it's about 25 degrees here. How's it going down there?
It's about 40 degrees here right at the moment.
Okay, well, you're much better than we are. So
Yes.
I'm just making a note that you and Michelle are remote. Just
Hi,
from,
Michelle. Hi, gang.
okay. Mark Keller, do you have warrant articles we talked about before, the possibility of trying to vote some of those early than customary so that you can get started on tracking them and writing up descriptions or
Sure.
recommendations?
What has been voted on by the selectmen or is placed is the town offices and committees, the reports of offices and committees, elected officers' salaries. I don't have, did you want copies of that for everybody to look at, or?
I want you to tell us. I want you to tell us one by one what they are. You want us to vote, and we'll consider it.
Okay, good.
Okay. And
All
so
right.
when we do this, if one person, let's just pretend these are all customary. If Scott could make the motion and Bob may be second, it just makes it easier for the recording of the whole thing.
Okay.
So, and the whole intent is just to get a jump start on some of these customary things that are always in there.
Are these numbered the same as they were last year, or?
Most likely, but the warrant has not been produced yet, so
Right.
we're a little bit ahead of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's good, I want to make sure I have the correct terminology.
Okay, well, he's flipping through there. Did everybody get a mailing from the town clerk talking about Article 45 from last year's annual town meeting, which had to do with bylaw changes?
No.
Nope.
No.
Really? I'm stunned. Did anybody get one? Town clerk was supposed to go to every household in town, this wonderful thing.
Via mail,
Huh?
snail mail.
Yeah, snail mail. That's how I got it.
Yes, it's possible our household got it, which doesn't mean that I got it.
Okay. It's dated November 25, 2024, so it's a while ago now. But if you recall, Article 45 at last year's town meeting, I'll just read it, not the whole thing. To see if the town will vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 43B, Section 10, to amend the town charter as set forth below, with strike-through text to be deleted and bold, underlined text to be inserted. So there are things like changing, just to refresh your memory, things like changing the word selectmen to select board. Things like they have a human resources position. They identify in here human resources position report to both the town administrator and the select board. Those kinds of things. And that article was adopted at town meeting. Subsequent to that, the Attorney General has looked at this and opined that it's okay to be voted, so it will be a ballot question in the spring. And I'm bringing it to your attention. I just think we should vote to say, basically, we support it. Whether it ends up showing up as some little article that needs that to get it on the ballot, or if it just shows up on a ballot. So that's all it is. We can hold it till next time if you want, until you check your mail and see if you got it.
I have copies of it, not what that came from the town clerk, but the strike-throughs, everything like that, if that would help us to move it along,
Yeah.
maybe we would like that.
I mean,
It's
it's
the
what we...
same as it was in the article.
Exactly,
in the warrant,
exactly.
right?
Only this is an official notification to the residents of Harwich
Yeah.
that it's going to go out on a ballot, that it has been approved by the state to do that. So that's what that is. Okay.
Michelle has her hand up.
Michelle, how are you? Michelle?
Yes, I do believe that I got that. It sounds very familiar because I remember opening up and saying to myself, why am I getting this?
Okay.
Specifically me, so. Yeah.
Okay. So just to clarify that one, and for your record, I suggest we have a motion based on the recommendation from the town clerk that the Finance Committee support Article 45 from the 2024 annual town meeting to go to a ballot. in the
So
spring.
moved.
There you go.
Second.
Second. So moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All right, hearing none, we're gonna take a vote. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chairs and I, 7-0. Okay, do you have that recorded, sir?
I'm sorry, I thought you were doing it. Let's do it again. On that.
Wait, the
7-0.
whole purpose of this exercise is for you
Okay, to get it in
to
practice.
get the record of what we're doing on these articles so that
Okay.
you can write the opinion.
Could we do it again, please?
No, it was
I can
7-0.
replay it for you. I moved,
It was
Bob
7-0.
seconded, and it was 7-0. That's all you need, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it'll probably, if the recording's working, Judy will get it right, so. Hello, Judy, we're counting on you to get it right. We need your help.
And Mark, I'll meet up with you offline after this meeting and sometime and we'll just go through things again.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. I'm ready for the next part.
All right,
All right.
now, Mr. Kelleher,
Article 1, to choose various town officers and committees. Could I have
the motion to accept and adopt?
a motion to
So
accept
moved.
and
So moved.
Scott?
Second.
Move to accept and adopt Article 1. Discussion. Or whatever it's changed to number-wise, if it gets changed, which it won't, but. All right, we'll put it to a vote. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Chairs and I, 7-0. Article 2, or whatever the next one is.
Okay, Article 2, to hear reports of all town officers and committees for the year 2025.
Is there a motion to accept and adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept and adopt. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to the vote. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Chairs and I, 7-0.
Okay, number 3, elected officials' salaries.
Do we have the final numbers?
Pardon me?
Are
I'm sorry, I didn't touch
we voting the numbers?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Good.
I think we could probably vote it, but the only one that will probably change unless we the finances of the elected officials has been our bailiwick, and it's something that we kind of bring forward if we want to make a change. If you think the selectmen earn more money this year, or the other members earn more money this year, it will be our recommendation coming forward to do that.
Yeah, we can
The
always,
only one we don't have is the town clerk, but we could vote this based on the present town clerk's salary and then adjust it once we know what her raise would be.
we can amend it after we voted.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
so I would move to accept and adopt this article
Shall I read the article?
at the present rates.
Go ahead.
Same.
Article 3, to see if the town will vote the salaries of the elected officials of the town for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026 as follows, and to act fully thereon. Estimated cost, $136,616. Selectmen, 5, $2,400 each. Moderator, $1,000. Water and wastewater commissioner, 5, $1,000 each. Library trustees, 7, $1,000 each. Town clerk, $111,616 for a sum total of, again, $136,616.
So moved.
So my motion is as read.
He moved it.
As read.
Did you second it?
I will second that.
You
motion.
seconded, okay.
Motion that
Moved and
David
seconded, okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
made. Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Chair is an aye, 7-0. All right, what's next?
I think that's it in terms, The operating budget, we don't have
No,
anything else?
no. We just want to do customary stuff.
Yeah, the only other customer things.
How about the herring fisheries?
Yep.
Herring fish, you want a motion?
I do.
Every once in a while, we vote not to accept this. But I vote we accept and adopt the herring fisheries article.
I second.
All right, moved and seconded to adopt the herring fisheries article. Discussion. I'm sure we'll hear the report at town meeting. Put it to a vote now. Mark?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Chair's an aye. 7-0. All right, you good now, Mark?
I am good.
Okay, and you got 45 taken care of, right? Do you want this, by the way, this official copy?
I'll just print it off. I
Okay.
think I did get it, but I will, if you want to sacrifice it, I will take it.
I'll be happy to sacrifice it, so it's less weight I have to take home. Okay, moving on. Any other new business that I missed? Okay. Old business, FinCom tracking to support May 2025 ATM. Everything going well between the three parties that are tracking?
Yeah, the only one we haven't received yet is the, what the town clerk sent out. I haven't received that yet, but we don't know if that's gonna be an article or not. And again, once we have a warrant, we can really start going to town as far as votes and things like that, but, I would advise, Mr. Chairman, if you wanna bring, I mean, I know you and I happened to meet with the chamber for the customary chamber article. We might wanna bring in the libraries or something like that at a future meeting, so we can meet with them for their article, and the cultural center for their article. We could have those kind of meetings early. We've been missing those meetings in the last few years because we just haven't got the warrant early enough to have time to do that. But this year, I think we have the time. We could probably do something like that.
All right, so if you want, Dana, why don't you send me your list of who you would like to come see before us on
Okay.
articles, and I'll invite them in.
Yep, that'd be good.
Okay? All right, anything else on that? All right, our joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen on the 12th and the 16th, I guess it was, right?
Yeah, two joint meetings.
Yeah. We were given the Munis dump, if you will, and by the way, I got to meet Eric, the finance director, which, quite frankly, after that meeting, I sent an email to the chair of the Board of Selectmen and said that Christmas had come early because we finally got somebody who sounded like he was, reasonably good on his feet and would answer questions and came sort of prepared. So I was happy with that. Okay. We were given the Munis report on 2020 FY 2024 actuals versus budget. And if you remember correctly, several months ago now, we appointed Bob to be our representative to a 4-member team of a member of this committee, Bob, a member of the Board of Selectmen, the finance director, and the town administrator, to sit down and work through budget versus actual for 2024, and maybe even looking at 2023. I think they met once, partially, and got started on it, and then we ended up getting the Munis report. From that, did you circulate this to everybody? I did.
I did. You did.
I did, yeah. You should have gotten something, I think it was yesterday or the day before, from me, that Bob had prepared a spreadsheet. Did everybody get that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, just checking. And he went through very diligently and looked at where the variances were. And the whole idea of this exercise is to look and say, okay, there are places where, as we go forward in next year's budget, which is 2026, are we being a little too conservative in some areas? We might be able to tweak back a little bit, and all those tweaks might end up adding up to something. So that was the intended goal, if you will. So, for instance, if you look at Finance Committee's salary and wages, which is Judy doing our minutes, our budget is, or was, in 2024, $3,000, and we actually spent, actual was a little, about $1,100. So, you know, we had quite a bit we didn't spend, and we did a lot of minutes and whatnot. So we could, for instance, take the lead and say, okay, we're gonna take our budget of 3,000 and let's just take it down to, let's see, 2,000. And say, okay, we did something, so now what's everybody else gonna do? That's just a suggestion at the moment. But the whole idea is to go through these things and try and get budgeting tighter, if you will, throughout the process of doing the budget. Now, having said that, one approach is for us to say, okay, let's take Bob's spreadsheet, and I could send it to our liaison, Mark Kelleher, excuse me.
Have something, but not that.
I could send, sorry. Anyhow, I could send it along and say, okay, here's the report that Bob put together. What do you want to do next? The other approach is that Bob, being a member of that team, could send this to his other three teammates, if you will, and say, okay, I reviewed this with the Finance Committee, and I'm ready for our next meeting, which would probably be the way to go, if you're comfortable doing that.
Sure.
I might suggest adding a column, or 2 columns, that might be just comments, and then actions for 2026 budget or something like that, or, you know, a recommendation for the 2026 budget. Just so it's like you've got a worksheet you're working with.
Yep.
Okay? So,
When is the 2026 budget proposed by, I suppose, the town administrator? Right?
the town administrator puts it together.
Yeah. When do we get to see his proposal?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Usually this month,
No, I know, but I mean, I don't have a date certain about that.
yeah.
So,
Because it's kind of hard to just look at 24
no, I understand that,
and
but
not
the
even
whole,
25.
but the whole idea was, it was a little working group,
Yeah,
right? To try and make that process to get the budget put together, which is done by the town administrator, a little cleaner and better.
yeah.
So that was the whole idea there, okay? Just like on this, on the reserve fund, right? 2024, we actually spent some money on it. We did the engines for the boat down at the harbor in 2024, didn't we?
Yes.
Like
Wasn't in
like
this
a
fiscal year.
$22,000 transfer?
Right.
So
Yeah,
this
26, yeah.
this shows we spent nothing, so there's a question right there. I don't know, it's not accurate. And we have requested, and I mentioned it again at our joint meeting with the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, we want our number on the reserve fund to go to 125. Because we hopefully are gonna do some tighter budgeting, okay?
Didn't we spend some money with the town administrator's budget this year?
That was just a couple weeks ago. This year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 2025
Right.
budget.
2025 budget, right.
Yeah, we did $40,000, Dana, by the way. You missed the
Right,
last
we're
meeting.
We're anticipating some more things coming at us between now and town meeting.
I don't have specifics, but I would assume that's correct. So I'll refer you to the December 12th meeting. And actually, it says here you participated, Dana, so you were probably here.
Yep,
Yep.
I do remember.
And Joe Powers requested $40,000, yep, to complete the comprehensive plan. And we approved it. Well, my observation is for last year, we had did you say 26,000?
And some change, yeah.
Yeah,
for the
whatever.
moment.
So that should get reflected. Okay, so Bob, are you comfortable with you sending this on, put the 2 columns in, or whatever columns you want to add to make it easier, right? And by the way, is there any difference? I haven't gone through this. Is there any difference between column A and column F? 2024 budget, 2020?
Yes.
There is.
Yes, column A is the actual voted, or it's supposed to be the voted column. Column F is the column in the Munis report that's compared in the Munis report to actuals, which includes encumbrances, transfers, adjustments, includes various stuff that took place that was not included in the voted budget.
Okay, all right, so no, I'd leave it there. I'd leave it there. So.
That's why there are different
Okay,
versions.
so as long as you're comfortable with that,
Yep.
I'd suggest you do that and try and get it done in the next couple days. And then let me know what the feedback is.
Okay.
Is everybody else good with that?
Yep.
All right, that's what we'll do. All right, anything else on that joint meeting?
My question
Scott?
was, one of my questions is about receipts. Evidently, the free cash estimate that we got from one of the finance directors, was it Eric? And then reiterated by Ed Spellman, $5.5 million. In round numbers, appears to be composed of the $2 million saved on expenses and something like $3 million over budget on receipts, and then some change in receivables, like tax receivables, which also went in the right direction for another $500,000 or so. So I just wondered why we wouldn't see the same detail on receipts and have a conversation about that, just like we're talking about expenses.
Okay.
And I do think actually, I think it's just, it may even be in those minutes that topic was brought up in that joint meeting
Yeah.
of the desire to have revenue also in addition to expenses.
Was that the 16th meeting?
16th meeting?
Yep. All right, somebody find it in here so we can just circle it. I will be happy to pursue that with
Yeah,
them.
let's see if I can find it.
The other thing I'll tell you, Dana, and particularly for you, that I did ask the other day what happened with the activity with the revolving funds, revolving accounts, okay? I passed that on to Jeff, and he told me he was talking to the chairman that day or the next day. I will probe again with him in the next couple of days and say, where is it? Because they did promise
Yep.
that to us, okay? So,
And the only other comment I have on the receipts is that what we can actually post is heavily controlled by the Department of Revenue at a statewide level. There's a lot of rules that involve that, those receipts in terms of what we can post. So we should, maybe Scott, you and I can explore some of those at some point so that you can have a better understanding of what's allowed and what's not allowed.
In terms of budgeting conservatively, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read something about that, which kind of means that, maybe I'm making this up, but 20% of, or 80% of prior year actuals is what we're guided to budget, just to be safe. And maybe that's about what $3 million amounts to, but it's kind of a guarantee of free cash every year, assuming that the receipts stay consistent with prior years, which is fine, I guess.
well, I mean,
There have been years where there hasn't been free cash the next year because of just variations that happen within that year, so.
Right.
It's done conservatively for those kind of reasons,
Right.
to make it, because it's more important to not mess up this year than it is to create free cash for next year, that kind of thing. But
and,
we can discuss that again offline if you'd like.
and a lot of the free cash stuff in my head is, the larger the number gets to be, the more it seems like you're overtaxing people,
Yeah.
and you're over budgeting, or being too conservative on what you're actually going to spend and whatnot. And it is taxpayer money, so it's
Having just received my new tax bill 10 days ago, I feel that.
Did your assessment go up?
My land assessment went up by 33%.
Did you add any land?
No, I didn't.
Did you?
I think I lost a little land.
Did you cut your grass or anything, or?
I don't cut my grass. I don't know. I wrote to the assessor's office a couple times. They sent me some materials.
To appeal?
I didn't appeal yet, but
Okay.
they warned me if I appeal, they're going to have to come into my house and tour the entire estate.
Yeah,
So I'm hesitant. But still, I wonder if my assessment is going up, land 33%, house 8%, total up by 23% or something, that's a lot of extra revenue.
You're not grandfathered in your assessment,
No, I know.
and it is supposed to reflect market value. And if I remember correctly, we're on a, Dana, aren't we on a cycle every 3 years? You're supposed to get a reassessment of every property in town?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
So that was
they
my
do
year.
yearly assessments, but every 3 years, they have to kind of update the whole thing. And they can't exceed the 2.5% threshold, so your 33% addition might be offset somewhere else in town.
Yeah, Dana's went
Somebody
down by
can go up.
33%.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody else is looking
Well, maybe Michelle's went down by 32.
And the tax rate went down also, from like 6 something to
Well,
591.
if the base goes up,
Yeah, they have to do that to stay within
There you
2.5%
go.
rule.
you're catching on.
Yeah,
And all that finally matters is the budget.
You're catching
Yeah.
on. All right.
it was
The
interesting
rest
to
of
see
it,
it from that
the rest of
perspective.
it's all moving numbers around.
Okay, so let me ask a question.
The only-
Dana and Scott, are you gonna take offline a question of receipts?
Yeah,
Sure.
So do you
Sounds
want me to
good.
leave that topic silent for the moment?
Well,
As far as
yeah, we should-
pursuing something from,
except it would be nice to have the data, the same as we
okay,
do for
so did you
expenses.
find there, Bob?
Like
The
we-
only reference is the reference that from Norm's, Scott's comment at the time, which is that, that taking the articles out, taking the articles out and including the receipts would have been much more helpful in getting to a bottom line.
Okay,
That's-
all right. So I will ask that question, I'll follow up on that, okay? And then we'll get back from that. All right, what else we have?
That was my main, I agree, that was my main comment relative to the meeting, was the same thing, that having the line item receipts for budgeted and for 2004 would be helpful in trying to look at
Yes,
this.
now I also thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought at that meeting, I in particular asked her, because Eric was over there with some notes or something like this, and I asked her to get a copy of those notes and/or a copy of the free cash calculation. I haven't seen that, so I will chase those things down. So let me ask a question. We changed the topics now. This is under other. The Capital Outlay Committee has done its work. It's all done. You're finished, right?
Correct.
Okay, just checking. Just checking. Okay. Mark is on the middle school building committee now, just so you know, regarding the siding and the roofing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if, Mark, you wanted to say something briefly about that effort, or what do you have in the papers in your hand, maybe?
Well, I'll talk about the Monterey Regional School meeting. We had our first meeting on Tuesday. Quite a nice group, about 10 or 12 people. We took a tour of the building. You can see they have done some opening of the walls. You can see where the flashings were not done correctly. So as a result, they're getting water in around the windows. A lot of the shingles have kind of decomposed. So last year we were talking about just replacing the trim board, but it's a lot more extensive than that. 6.4 million. Some of the members brought up that the windows may be at the end of their life as well, even though they're not showing any defects right now, and about replacing that. So there's some expenditures there. And if anybody watched, and you probably will see it in the Chronicle tomorrow, there is some concern by parents about mold in that building. So I think it's going to be a bigger issue than just the siding, and it's going to be a big issue in terms of the amount of money that's going to be spent. So we have one more meeting, and I think once that meeting is done, they're going to bring it forward to the school committee and take it from there to the two boards.
Bring what, the estimate together or the project?
They already have already hired an architect. They have a $6.4 million estimate to do the work.
Okay.
But now at this building committee, they're going to give their input. It's a lot of builders from both Harwich and Chatham. But you may see it change a little bit based upon what they're saying. And we haven't even, and it's not our charge to even broach the assessment formula. So that's a big issue that's gonna be coming up. Just a minor issue, I don't know if anybody saw it at the selectmen's meeting a few weeks ago, there's a land purchase the town has to make on C Street, 1.4 million, so just to keep that in mind. And the final thing, Scott did some great work on budgets and reserves, but I have a copy and I'll share it with anybody who wants it from,
Yeah, I brought a copy if anybody wants.
Division of, okay, good, you can get, Division of Local Services, they recommended that, our recommendations are between 5 to 7% reserves for free cash and the same for stabilization fund. In any case, they recommend that each town should have 10 to 15% between the two, 10 to 15% on stabilization and reserve funds. So Scott has some up-to-date information from the state on where we're at. I've asked the finance director to get a real snapshot now. I haven't heard back from him. So if you can speak to him, maybe you can find that. But I'll share this on the,
So based on what's here, and listed for Harwich, do we satisfy the requirement?
Scott, I don't think we do we?
Well, not in 2024 on the free cash side, where, let me just forward this to you guys, Michelle and Dana. There we go.
Let me have some. Anybody need a paper copy of it? I have some copies here.
No, I'm good.
You got it?
Yeah.
Mark?
How is that different than this? What are we talking
No,
about?
it's
We talking
well,
about different stuff?
That's that,
It's
Same
it's
information.
got everything.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
actually much better if you look at it online, you can see the colors.
yeah.
I mean,
Here you got Harwich in bold and
yeah.
the sum of all other Cape towns in the lighter shade of gray. And we definitely were lagging in general on both the general stabilization fund balance and the free cash annual flow. But in recent years have been catching up on the stabilization fund reserve as a percentage of the operating budget. We're in 2024 up to a little over 7%, which is kind of in the middle of that 5 to 10% range that Mark mentioned. Free cash bounces around a lot more because it's a flow, not a reserve balance like the stabilization fund is. And what we heard, what I mentioned before, $5.5 million estimate of free cash to be certified in 2025 would be almost 7% of operating budget if that turns out to be the number, 5.5%. So we're pretty close to that guideline, the center point of that 5 to 10% guideline.
Now, do you know if any town on this list actually uses free cash to support their budget?
I don't know how I could research that.
Because that would
Except
be,
by looking at the
that would be a
article.
deceiving thing.
Yeah.
Let's say you had $5 million in free cash, but you used 3 of it to support your operating budget.
In the following year.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, that's a practice we got away from a long time ago.
That should really count as an offset to your free
Well,
cash in that
okay, but-
future
yeah,
year, right?
exactly,
If they-
exactly. So, I mean, I'm just wondering if some of this is overstated for some of these towns. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably a good question to ask you next time you get your finance group together, your organization, just approach some people that might be on this list and say, hey, do you use any free cash in the operating budget? I don't know. So.
I guess it would be in their warrant, right? If somebody wanted
You
to
want
take
to
the
dig
time.
into it, yeah, sure, you'd have to look
do
at
it
the
that
source
way.
of the funding for the
Yeah.
budget, if you will. You'd have to dig into it.
Yeah.
So what's if you look at this and take the numbers as they are, your recommendation regarding Harwich going forward in general would be what?
Well, see, it doesn't tell me anything. What would tell me something is some sort of a forecast of the operating budget over the next 3 to 5 years.
Sure.
I mean, that would be the gold standard of trying to figure out how tight we should be, how generous we should be in general. But this tells me that I think the stabilization fund is a more important measure because it's something that rolls forward from year to year. I don't know if we've used it in recent years. We've added little bits to it in recent years, as you can see.
Yeah, we haven't tapped it lately.
I guess maybe we tapped it in 2021. It looks like it went down, but in general, it's been going up. And that stabilization fund is meant to offset, negative surprises.
It's a rainy
in
day
the
fund, basically.
Exactly, and we
Yeah.
haven't had a rainy day yet, but
Right.
I guess another question would be how close are we in our expenses to the Proposition 2.5 limits? Will the operating budget itself require us to include in the warrant, what do they call it, an override of some kind? Just for general operating budget purposes? I don't know if we've ever done that in the past. But with
It's
all
not
this.
been recommended by me.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, no, it's
But with
not,
the sewer debt coming up, increasing over the next 5 or 10 years, you could imagine, I don't know if that's already excluded, the debt service on,
well, if you're gonna take that as a
Projects?
bond issue, that's just its own
It's already
number.
excluded. yeah.
That's-
already excluded,
Yeah, that's
okay.
its own number, that's not part of the
Okay.
operating budget at that point,
yeah.
yeah. That's its own bond issue. Okay, so a suggestion, if you have from this data, you or anybody else, want to compile a concise list of questions for the finance director, I would be happy to invite him to come and sit with us sometime and have a discussion about those things.
Mm-hmm.
We may even want to pass it, I don't know if he's looked at this or not, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that would be an interesting discussion.
Just one thing that came out this weekend, Charles Gruska had sent a letter to the selectmen that he received some information from the finance director. We're very close to the levy limit. If you haven't seen it, I'll forward to you the letter.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Did you see it? So
Yeah.
we were almost bumping right up against that, so.
And he's also pushing the concept of, do we have the balance right between what Harwich and Chatham are paying for the school system? That's how the whole thing came about, not only for the operating budget, but also when it comes to a capital expense like the middle school.
It's like the school.
Yeah.
What is the default split? Is it the same as the operating budget for a capital project like
I
that?
don't think so.
Wow.
And that's,
It's 75 Harwich, 25 Chatham, based on enrollment.
Yeah.
It's no different for either.
and I think that
instructional-
fluctuates every couple of years based on what the actual numbers are, but
Right.
not a hell of a lot, I mean.
Yeah.
But it has been progressively moving towards Harwich over time.
Yeah, Harwich has more and more kids.
Do they do the census in the middle school separate from the high school, or is it the total census?
I
That
think it's total. Yeah,
Total, yeah.
yeah.
No credit for getting a defective building from Chatham?
I think that, I think when the agreement was put together, that it was just assume the buildings are the buildings. I mean, it wasn't like you're buying a house that
Yeah.
says, okay, let's have a home inspection. And somebody went and said, oh, there's termites here, or, whatever, or,
To be fair, we disposed of Harwich High School, so that was another building that wasn't in the best.
yeah, some of the cement is out there and the concrete is out there.
Rough Rider Reef.
Out there in the water.
And- Yeah, thank you. Fish are loving it.
And the original agreement went into effect 12 years ago, right? In 20.
Yeah, it's been a while.
in the, FY 2012 budget.
Yep, yep. Okay, so if you give me some questions, I'll be happy to pass them on and invite them in. And,
I mean, not to beat the horse dead, but my questions are always about a format for future
yeah,
projections,
well, that's okay.
more than looking backwards,
It's
but I
okay,
think
but,
it's helpful to have.
until we sit with Eric
Yeah,
and tell him what we're looking for, it's hard for him to say, oh, I think I should just send this to the finance committee. You know what I
Now,
mean?
did I misread the appearance of Ed Spellman? Didn't that mean that it's not Eric, it's now Ed is the interim finance director?
No, I think Ed is I think that Eric is the finance director and Ed Spellman is like the town accountant or something. I don't know what he is.
Okay.
But it is two, we have a treasurer, right? So I'm losing track of the accountant.
Exactly.
But anyhow,
Yeah, okay.
I think they both come from the same firm that,
Yeah.
was consulting with us before.
Yep,
In August, it said Spellman was the interim treasurer.
Yeah, but now we have a treasurer, right? Legendary. Didn't she get promoted to be the treasurer?
I thought at a selectmen's meeting, Eric Spellman works for Kinshir's firm, and Kinshir has handed over the duties and responsibilities to Spellman. That was my impression.
On the 16th is.
To run the firm?
To run for the finance director. In other words, Eric Kinshir was the man, but he has his own firm.
Right.
And Ed Spellman is an employee. He's basically said, you know, I've done my work to a great degree. It's now Ed Spellman. That was my impression from the meeting.
That was mine too.
So.
Okay, so you think
And
that...
that was also, or something akin to that, at the one little group meeting we had, Eric identified that he was about to roll off of the job.
Okay, so we should now be communicating with Spellman.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, all right, not a problem. All right,
Peter,
Right.
just two
Yep.
quick things.
Yep.
This is not within our purview, but because we have some people who've been around here for a while. One of the objections that the Chatham Selectmen, when the Select Board gets into a discussion, again, it's not our thing, but they'll say, you get out of building a whole new school. So that's gonna be part of their argument about changing the assessment formula. If anybody has, I don't have any background. If anybody has any background or input that can feed to the selectmen, that would be good information to refute what they're gonna say to changing the formula. And just as a thought, second thing, I'm going to the MMA convention at the end of the month. If anybody, I mean, if you have any, you know, they have all those booths, as everybody knows. If you need any information, you want me to bring back material on, I'm happy to do that, so.
Dana wants every yo-yo that they have out there.
Every bottle of water that's given away for free.
Exactly, bring it all back. Bring it all back.
Ship it all down here, I'll send you the address.
And then 2 weeks later, we can throw it all out.
But they do have a lot of information. If anybody was interested in some certain things, let me know. They always have a lot of public works things, but I think.
And if anybody wants to go, they're welcome to, you know, sign up and go, so.
We have
Okay,
the budget for it.
anything else? I will just say that, hopefully starting next month, we're gonna start getting into some things, you know, that start to lead us up to, town meeting. And we'll be meeting, I assume, more frequently. Kind of clear your calendar, if you will, and we'll get through it. Last year, I think we did it pretty well. We got through it, you know, kind of efficiently, and wasn't too stressful, although it got to be a little bit late, so. Okay.
Even though we have things early this year, we'll start eating up the time real quick.
Oh, yeah, no, it happens, sure. Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Moving and second to adjourn. Anybody want to stay behind? We are adjourned, thank you.
Thank you, good night, folks.
Stay out of the cold.
Night.
Hey, did your wife crash her bike or something?
No.
He left. Did I hear his wife crash her bike?
Whose wife?
Dana's wife, Dana's wife.
Oh,
Where is he, down in Florida?
Yeah.
40 degrees? Wow. Doesn't seem worth all that distance.
You know what's kind of interesting? I seem to remember, not too many years ago, you would hear from